I'm really pleased that Claudia Serea is here tonight. I've known her about 10 years, I think. It's been a long time. She's a founding member of the Rutherford Red Wheelbarrow, a poetry collective based in New Jersey that I'm also connected with. So I always really look forward to hearing her work, and I'm pleased she's come all the way to Poughkeepsie from New Jersey. Here's some information about Claudia. Claudia was born in Romania and immigrated to the U.S. in 1995. Her poems and translations have appeared in Field, New Letters, 5 a.m., Meridian, Word Riot, and Apple Valley Review, among other publications. She's the author of Angels and Beasts, A Dirt Road Hangs from the Sky, To Part is to Die a Little, and her new book is Nothing Important Happened Today. And she's a co-host of the Williams Reading Series in Rutherford, and she is the founding editor of National Translation Month. Please welcome Claudia.
Thank you, Melanie. Thanks, Anne, very much. Thanks for having me, and thank you everyone who were here tonight to listen. I'm really excited. This is a beautiful space, so it's a pleasure to be here. I grew up in Romania, as Melanie said, and I read a lot about my own father, about Romania, about my immigrant experience, so I'll just read. And I decided to bring some poems in Romanian, which being National Translation Month, I'll read in Romanian first, and then the English version. So, yeah, okay. So a poem about my father, one of main characters that shows up in my books. My father, the great stone statue. My poems are my mistakes. Let me make them. My friends are my mistakes. Let me have them. So what if they're the sons of workers? So what if they're not refined and well-read? You can't keep me in a tight-lidded jar. Don't you see, I'm a 5-alarm fire, not a firefly. And I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor so you can show off and climb the social ladder. And if you need a doctor in the family, I'll marry one. I can't wait to marry just to spite you, the son of a peasant just like you. You, the great stone leader on your pedestal with your raised hand pointing to the brilliant future only you can see. I lived in fear of you in a dictatorship the size of our apartment. I was afraid but fought you anyway. At 16, I waged my own revolution, the one of all the girls in the world. I chanted, screamed, and waved my flags in the kitchen. You were my huge Lenin statue. I tied with ropes, pulled down, and dragged away. Don't get me wrong. I always wanted to be like you, to be you. I wanted to have your poise, your walk, your sure foot. At 27, I needed to prove that I've grown. I broke the news over the steaming food. I got the visa today. A cloud entered the room and sat at the table. And you, who always wanted to emigrate, you couldn't ask me to stay. You crumbled before my eyes. You, the strong one, distant on your pedestal, broke down to pieces, to dust. A simple man about to lose his child. You cry too easily, I said. I took your tears with me and carried them 5,000 miles. I own my suitcase and my mistakes. My heart was a flapping flag. I rose in the new land to claim it and make you proud. So I came to New York City in 1995 on a diversity visa. That's the visa program that it's an essential lottery. It's a country lottery, so a certain amount of green card are allowed to, according to the population, to different countries. So you just apply, and then the computer draws your number, and I won. And here's a poem. It's called Diversity Visa, but I want to read it in Romanian first. loteria vizelor. Cum era posibil să fie plicul acela atât de mic, când purta în el viețile noastre? Râdeam și glumeam că o să dormim sub podul Brooklyn, o să mâncăm o gogoașă pe zi. Ne întrebam dacă străzile New Yorkului or fi murdare și aglomerate și pavate cu vise, or fi și câini cu covrigi în coadă, iar oamenii or fi frumoși ca în filme. Sau viața noastră va fi cumva un episod din Seinfeld despre nimic. Mai bine sărac în America decât în România, ziceam. Ai mai emigra încă o dată, mă întrebi. Cu tine îți răspund, oricând. Diversity visa. When it carried our lives inside, how could the envelope be so small? We laughed and joked that we'd sleep under the Brooklyn Bridge. We'd eat a donut a day. We wonder if the New York streets would be dirty and crowded and paved with dreams. Would there be dogs with bagels up their tails? Would there be beautiful people like in the movies? Or would our lives be a Seinfeld episode about nothing? Better poor in America than in Romania, we said. Would you do it again, I ask. With you, I answer, anytime. Would you do it again, you ask. With you, I answer, anytime. So this is a poem about New York City. I have a love-hate relationship with the city of New York. I live in New Jersey and work. I lived in New York, in Queens for about 7 years, and then I moved to New Jersey. So New York is great. This poem is called The Greatest City on Earth. Alive, it stalks us with glowing windows. We are the prey, the fresh blood, the flesh. The greatest city on earth breathes heavily through manholes, exhales the smell of sweat and piss and rotten lard. It holds us prisoners, even our reflections, prisoners in panes of glass. Our better versions, thinner, younger, hearts full of hope and heads full of dreams. We are its children, brave and defeated. The city loves us, holds us tight in a deadly embrace, and we love it right back. We love you, Mama, your claws, your mane, your thirsty fangs. Why sit when you can walk? Why walk when you can run? Run, run to the beat of drums, faster and faster, rumble and rush and trample over others. Rush, 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 rush. We march through the streets every day, a flood of faceless gray. And everything we build is ruined at night. We build it again the next day, and again it falls apart. We build it, build, build, and it's ruined again, higher and higher, then low. And we know the towers won't stand until we build our love inside the walls, our most precious love, buried alive inside these walls. Without fresh blood, the construction workers would leave. Without the work of immigrants, the restaurants will close. There will be fortresses of garbage, and rats dressed as soldiers will ask for ID at every corner. The greatest city on earth will crumble, first around the edges along Battery Park. Bricks will fall, glass will fly, and the Lincoln Tunnel will gape a cracked mouth. Wind will blow the last pages written about the greatest city on earth. Dusk will draw a dark curtain over deserted Times Square, and the end of time will drift from the blind neon signs. I won't let that happen to you, beautiful, carnivorous city. Start spreading the news. Here I come, sweet New York. Here's fresh marrow to suck. Take my life and bury it inside your towers and bloom on top of the rock, a vivid flower. So, I guess I love New York. I heart New York. There's no choice, right? So what else can I read? I want to read something else in Romanian. This is a poem about our first little studio in Bucharest. After we finished school, we stayed in Bucharest and we bought a tiny, tiny place, just one room. And it's called The Apartment Building in the Sky. blocul de apartamente din cer. Cerul era albastru, iar eu atârnam cămăși albe pe frânghia de rufe de la fereastra garsonierei de la etajul 9. Bătea vântul. Blocul gri de apartamente se mișca în vânt, ancorat cu cabluri de oțel, de norul alb ce trecea peste Berceni. În jurul lui zburau porumbei, dar poate că nu erau porumbei, ci cămășile altcuiva furate de vânt. N-am mai locuit așa de sus de atunci. N-a mai trebuit să atârn cămăși ce se zbăteau furioase în vânt, vrând să-mi scape din mâini și să se alăture porumbeilor. Eram tineri și locuiam în cerul luminos de la etajul 9. Tu citeai ziarul, mâncând o felie de pâine cu gem. Eu stăteam la fereastră. Eram tineri. The apartment building in the sky. The sky was blue, and I was hanging white shirts on the clothesline at the window of the small studio on the 9th floor. It was windy. The gray apartment building was moving in the wind, anchored with steel cables to the white cloud passing over Berceni. And pigeons were flying about. Maybe the pigeons were not pigeons at all, but someone else's shirts stolen by the wind. I never lived that high up again. I've never had to hang shirts again, flapping furiously in the wind, waiting, wanting to escape my hands and join the pigeons. We were young, living in the luminous sky on the 9th floor. You were reading the paper, eating a slice of bread with jam. I was at the window. We were young. And let me see what else I have here. This is kind of a list poem, but it's kind of fun to read. So I want to read it again in Romanian and then in English. I think it's just nice to kind of listen to the words. I just have to find it. Okay. So, the title in English is On 7th Avenue, two men with signs as big as sheep sails preach salvation. So, pe 7th Avenue, doi bărbați cu panouri mari cât pânzele de corăbii propovăduiesc mântuirea. Marea Mântuirii aruncă pe mal pantofi, pălării, mănuși, cămăși, rochii, butoaie de whisky, clopote, rățuște de cauciuc, hârtii, cărți, o tropentă de aur, o suzetă, sticle, piepteni, o oglindă spartă, o vioară, o periuță de dinți, picturi, fotografii, perle, eșarfe de pene, pâine udă, o cizmă, cuțite și furculițe, lingurița cuiva de argint, dar nici măcar un singur trup, nici măcar unul. On 7th Avenue, two men with signs as big as ship sails preach salvation. The sea of salvation washes ashore shoes, hats, gloves, shirts, dresses, whiskey barrels, bells, rubber duckies, papers, books, a golden trumpet, a pacifier, bottles, combs, a broken mirror, a violin, a toothbrush, paintings, photos, pearls, feather boas, wet bread, a boot, knives and forks, someone's silver spoon, but not a single body, not one. So that was kind of a fun, I saw these two guys. The corner, I work on 33rd Street, and so the corner and 34th Street and 7th Avenue is right next to Penn Station. It must be the busiest corner in the whole world, and that's where these preachers always show up to do their thing. It's very funny. I always see something interesting there. And this is another list poem that doesn't have a Romanian version, but it's kind of fun to read. This is a poem, it's made of notes. It's just kind of keeping in line with this like innovative poetry. I'm just trying to read something that's... One time when I was on vacation in Romania, drive to my mother-in-law's house, which is in a tiny village all the way in the country, about 4 hours, 5 hours away from Bucharest. And just coming back from there to Bucharest, I took notes of billboards and stuff that I saw. So this is a poem called 150 Kilometers from Câinenbăi to Bucharest. Umbrellas, billboards, Bergen beer, burger, Bucharest, 150 kilometers. Iveco, Lukoil, a lake, mounds of melons, blue flags with circles of white stars, satellite dishes, corn, I believe I can fly, and skinny horses, zinnias, Vizirain, Sharazan, something about Felicita. This is stuff that's happening at the radio too. There's some of the radio coming in. Happiness, beans, soybeans, Baleacu, Noon News, Mânzu, Europa FM, IMF opposition, lack of responsibility, crisis, recession, watermelons, sunflowers, sunflower seeds banned from the stadiums, Wells, Timișoara beer, Cosmote, Pink Cosmos, Dorna mineral water, Madonna's Bucharest concert, her gypsy band booed, reggae, listen to the music of the moment, more corn, hay rolls, poplars, poplar seeds, abandoned assembly lines, warehouses, rust, straw packs, oil tanks, warm temperatures and sunny skies in the southeast. More sunflowers, Coca-Cola, Cocorico, love passes, the couch stays, Dedeman. Petrom, Peugeot, Botzengarten, Bosch, Krasselt, Volkswagen, Practical, be a practical man. Bitelli, Martelli, Maria, don't you want to break her? Don't you want to take her home? That was Blondie, 1999. Buzău, a martyr city, Bhutan gas, Argus, the giant with 1,000 eyes, Big Brother, the music of your summer, Radio Romania, take my breath away, more corn, more hay, Hyundai, a cross, someone died here, Faith No More in Bucharest this fall, mountains of melons, a beautiful girl sells them, she wears a yellow tank, the scent makes this rusty car holy, the highway curls a vine over the melon earth, a melon hangs from the sky, tickets available. So, yeah, it's fun stuff with billboards. And I want to read, I want to say just about this book. The title, Nothing Important Happens Today, it's kind of a fun little fact, is supposedly coming from, it's believed to have been a diary entry by King George III of England on July 4th, 1776, the day when the United States declared their independence. So King George, it turns out that King George never kept a diary, and the myth stemmed from an actual diary entry of King Louis XVI of France from 1789. I don't know how that turned into King George, but it's kind of fun. And I was researching, and I think I actually had this poem that I want to read next written first. And I just thought that, you know, nothing really important happens, and this is kind of like a little vignette poem. And then from that, it kind of leaped into this other, it just happened that this nothing of importance happened today is what supposedly King George said. So, astăzi nu s-a întâmplat nimic important. Seara miroase a balegă de vaci. Un păianjen își țese pânza pe antena de satelit, creându-și propriile lui știri mărunte. Aș putea trăi așa. Cerul atârnă stele ude pe frânghia de rufe, crochia albă a Casiopei și centura lui Orion printre maieuri, pantaloni scurți și tricouri cu AC/DC. Nothing important happened today. The evening smells of cow manure. A spider weaves a web on the satellite dish, making its own small news. I could live like this. The sky hangs wet stars on the clothesline, Cassiopeia's white dress, and Orion's belt among tank tops, shorts, and t-shirts with AC/DC. So there are few clothesline poems in this book, so I guess that's why the cover is a clothesline. What else I can read? I want to read a poem about, it's kind of a, I want to read a couple of poems. One is, "You made me write bad poetry for years." These are a sequence of poems, love poems, not too many. They're kind of dedicated to my current husband. So, you made me write bad poetry for years. You must stick your head in the oven and fake your own death in every poem, that critic said. Honey, you have to open a vein with your pen every time. But I couldn't help it. I was young and had a breeze for heart. I was a bright green leaf in your arms. Light passed through my flesh and refracted translucent emotions. I wrote about birds taking flight. Gosh, white horses and poplars with eyes. For years I wrote about being blind. And then the flip side of that is this poem about the other woman. This is another true story, a conversation I had with a friend of mine. The other woman. She blooms in his mind, a poisonous rose. She wants to carry his babies, and I can't stop her, my friend said. For hours we walked around Soho talking about our men, how not to lose them. Desperate times call for great lingerie. We bought thongs, black lace with velvet roses. At home I shaved my worries and dimmed the lights, pretending to be the other woman. I'm going to read a couple of poems from this other book, To Part Is to Die a Little. This is the previous collection. It's kind of the same mix, a little bit more. It has some restaurant stories. My first job in New York City was hostess in a restaurant. And so I'm going to read a couple of poems from here. I need a prop. I need a pencil. This is a fun poem to read with a pencil. This is quintessential for this poem. It is. It's called The English Lesson. For an hour, we have English names. Mine is Peggy, yours is Sue. The teacher with curls draws the letter T with one leg, a hat, and a cane. H is a sway, E is a whip. The word jumps from the tip of the tongue, stuck out to touch the pencil I hold, until we united my nose with the chin. Through the teeth, the, not the, tongue out, lick the pencil, the pen, the blackboard, the desk we share, the boy with sweaty hands who looks under the skirts, until the girls beat him with the backpacks. The Brooklyn Bridge in the open book, the plane that takes me there. So this is my English teacher. The word, the sound, the doesn't exist in Romanian. So that's a trick that I started learning English in second grade. So to teach little kids how to pronounce the, not the, or the, like with a D, it was very difficult. And she just showed us this. Sorry, I licked your pencil. I think I'll keep it. So that's the English lesson. And then, oh, this is a good one. This is a poem. I wrote only 2 poems about 9/11. When 9/11 happened, I was away already from the restaurant. But my husband was still working in the restaurant, and we knew a lot of the people who knew. It was the same company actually operating the restaurant where he was working in, and the windows on the world at the top of the World Trade Center. And so we knew a lot of, some of the people working in the kitchen knew the guys over there, and so that's this poem. The Ballad of Danny the Butcher. Danny the Butcher is a tall, strong man with an outlaw mustache and the name of a pro wrestler. He carries his surgical knives in a tiny velvet-lined box, like a flute case. In the back of the house, he sculpts the orange morning in salmon flesh. He makes steaks, cuts to pieces the meats and the lives of others with his huge judging knife. He advises all to leave or change. He tells Olga, run away, be a supermodel. He tells Mary how beautiful the Acropolis is. He tells Ursula, take a cab, go somewhere. He tells Victor, get a better job at the windows on the world in a tower that shall fall. One morning, the tower fell, carrying Victor like a pitch flute note into the abyss. That morning, Danny had come earlier to work. He cut 30 steaks, and they let more blood than usual. Standing in the kitchen alone when he got the news, the blood rose to his ankles, to his knees. Since then, he stopped giving life advice, took up playing the flute. And this is another little poem, more of a koan. We used to have people working in the restaurant from all corners of the world. And this is a Buddhist proverb told by the Thai busboy. Before the Enlightenment, we served drinks and cleaned tables. After the Enlightenment, we serve drinks and clean tables. So there you go. And what else? This is a poem about, Thursday night. It's Thursday night. Honey, have a seat in the earth's lap. The reading only costs a watermelon. The old woman moon smokes and reads our cards of love and fortune. Oh, I'll stop. Come on in. No, please. Okay. I'll start again. Yeah, that's very nice. Thank you for coming. So, Thursday night. Honey, have a seat in the earth's lap. The reading only costs a watermelon. The old woman moon smokes and reads our cards of love and fortune. Her voice makes the olive trees rustle and stretch their necks to hear. The Danube shudders in its muddy shores, where red pheasants mate and snakes graze the grasses. The woman's bosom clinks with copper coins. Love, let's stay longer and listen. Tomorrow, the crooked tent will be gone, gone the woman who smoked and read our cards, stained with misfortune, gone the bear that danced on a chain of our bones and took the pain away, gone the children with coal eyes who laughed and stole our shoes, gone the nomad gypsy sky, replaced by Friday morning. Okay, so how am I doing with time? I can do a couple more, maybe? Okay. So, I used to be a hostess, and this is based on a real conversation with someone who had breakfast in Cucina, was the place where I worked. Breakfast at Cucina. Are you a gymnast? The woman asked when she finds out my accent is Romanian. Sure, I'd like to say. In my country, the little girls balance on beams as soon as they come out from their mother's wombs. They jump and land in incredible poses, always scoring a perfect 10, just like Nadia. The capital, Bucharest, is just Budapest suburbia, where vampires flock at sundown rushing to Dracula's parties. We shoot our dictators only once, every 100 years. But don't worry, Ceausescu is alive and well on Elvis' secret island. Are you a gymnast? The question leaps and lingers in midair between the teacup and the woman's lips. No, I answer, but I could be one, the way I bend backwards sometimes just to get through the day. So, that was that. Funny conversation. All right, let me see. I'll close with maybe two more. One for my daughter, two poems for my daughter. I have a 13-year-old daughter. And this next one is just kind of, we had a rough start when I gave birth, so some of that. Red and blue balloons. For days we lay tangled in wires, dripping tubes and purple paint tendrils. I hallucinated a garden of ashen roses my dead grandmother was pruning. Big eyes, small mouth, you were finally rescued from my feverish womb. In the nightmare cloud, I curled around you. You were asleep in your basket in the back of the car, and I was looking out the window at the blinding world. Icicles were melting. You breathed wet, unopened snowdrops. And everything was new and beautiful. The slow traffic on Route 17, East Rutherford's bleak industrial park, and by the Buick dealership, the red and blue balloons. So it was really a blessing to come back home and be good. And this is another poem for her and for all of us, I think. It's called Sunset on Irving Place. I live on Irving Place. You rode your princess bike into the sunset, a drop of pink with petals, your laughter rolling downhill like marbles. There were strangers on the street and dangers under the trees that bent and hid you from my view with their gypsy skirts. I ran to catch up with you. I yelled, "Go on, don't stop." No matter how dark or steep the hill, keep riding your bike. Thank you very much.